Hello, guys. We're back on Click Tennis. This is me, Vansh Vermani. My last broadcast was Wimbledon, and I did the um, analysis and preview and brackets for those. Now we're on to the US Open Series. This will be much shorter as I will dive right into the draws. So we've got an exciting US Open ahead of us. Obviously, we've got Raonic, Murray just pulled out yesterday, Djokovic, everyone out. Who knows? For the rest of the year, Djokovic and Wawrinka already out for the rest of the year. Same with Nishikori. We've got the top 5 players of last year all injured and out of the US Open. This leaves a wide open, decimated field with obviously question marks for Roger Federer with a back injury, as that clearly affected him in the second set of his final against Sasha Zverev, who's the number 4 seed and could make a deep run here at the Open. There's a lot of possibilities and outcomes, and this should be a really exciting one. So without further ado, I'm going to go right into the women's bracket. Women's is going to be extremely hard to predict, as 8 women can finish the year number 1. Or they can finish number 1 after the US Open itself. We've got a wide open field, obviously. We've got Venus, Muguruza, Halep, Sharapova's making her return. You'll see the draw. It's going to be 10 or 15 different women can win it. We'll see who'll hold up the trophy, but definitely very exciting stuff. And I'm just going to give you my predictions, and we're going to keep it simple today. All right. I'm going to share my screen. Made the predictions and then turned in the bracket for the women's. So we will get that started right away. So here we go. All right. So as you can see here, this is the women's draw right here. So in the first quarter, the number 1 seed, we've got Pliskova. I have Pliskova. A few of these matches she should get through. I have her reaching the 4th round. Let's see if I have any upsets. I have Mladenovic going out in the first round. She's had a good year, first half of the year. And after the French Open, she's just struggled to find her form and hasn't been very consistent. And so I have her. She's got a tough first round against Nicuescu, who slices her forehand. And that's going to be a tough match. So, and then I've got Taylor Townsend getting to the 3rd round. Pliskova gets through this quarter. She gets through the quarterfinals. Next, we've got Radwanska. Radwanska is tricky opponent. Been struggling this year. 10th seed. I have Vandeweghe. Vandeweghe's got a tough first round against her good friend Alison Risk. Vandeweghe can play well on the hard courts. A lot of firepower. This Radwanska match, though, could go either way. Radwanska's got all the... they call her the ninja. She's got excellent drop shots, great feel. Ball early, takes the return early, can step in, takes the time away, not by overpowering you, but by outsmarting you. And that's a tough matchup for Vandeweghe, but I have her getting through it anyway because she's playing at home. CC Bellis has been on a rise, already in the top 40. I have her upsetting Safarova and Kuznetsova. She already beat Kuznetsova, I think it was in Toronto. Yeah. So I have Coco Vandeweghe versus CC Bellis, Coco Vandeweghe winning. And I've got, so Vandeweghe and Pliskova, I've got as our first quarterfinal. Let's see, there weren't any other upsets. Maybe Safarova is a good doubles player. But I have CC Bellis pulling off 2 big wins right here. 3 big wins. Next, we've got Svitolina, the number 4 seed. Very solid backhand. Has won 5 titles this year. She's looking to be good. But since the French Open, she's been struggling. Obviously, she made the run there to the semis in Paris. She's the number 4 seed. Daria Gavrilova just won yesterday in New Haven. So I've got Rogers versus Day in All-American. That should be interesting. I have Rogers getting the win over there. And then Gavrilova versus Svitolina. I have Svitolina. And talk about Madison Keys. Madison Keys has got the most firepower of any. She hits the ball really flat, really hard, but with enough topspin, and she's got excellent rotation on the ball. She can generate easy power from the backhand and the forehand. She moves well. Now, certainly, there are a few question marks with her health, but she's made a comeback this year, and she was in the top 10 last year, and she's looking good. And it looks to me like she's got a good draw, and she can make a good run here, obviously, with Serena out. And, the women's draw is like I said, there's like 10 players that can win it. So she's got Vesnina, that's a good draw. So she's got a solid draw here. And I think against Svitolina, she has enough in the toolkit. That should be a good match. I have Madison Keys getting to the quarters. Next, we have Ostapenko. Ostapenko has really struggled since the French. It's really surprising that she got to the quarters at Wimbledon right after winning the French Open. Down a set and a break against Simona Halep in the final. So that was great to see. Kasatkina, young Russian. I have her getting through and upsetting Angelique Kerber. Kerber is going to be out of the top 10 soon. Kerber has not backed up her results from last year, understandably so. And Kerber's been struggling. Don't know what's been going on with her. So anyway, I have Keys and Kasatkina. Is that how you say her name? Yeah, Kasatkina. And Wozniacki. Wozniacki's won. She's already made 6 finals this year. I think she's lost all of them, or she's lost her last 6 finals. But anyway, she's on a great run. Venus Williams, obviously. Venus Williams versus Wozniacki. I think this is going to be one of the best matches of the tournament. I have Wozniacki winning it. She's made 2 U.S. Open quarterfinals here, and Venus is now 37. It's amazing. She's made 2 Slam finals this year. I think Wozniacki and Venus always have great matches. But if I have to choose, I'll go with Wozniacki. I think she's fitter. And the longer the match goes, I favor Wozniacki and her defensive abilities over Venus. Let's see. Kvitova's been struggling since her hand got taken away by those. Since she got invaded in her home, and she had a brutal accident, and her hand was just completely gone. It's amazing that she came back so early, and she's still. I have her winning her first couple of rounds. I have her beating Cornet and Jankovic. Jankovic has just been struggling, and I think she'll get to the 3rd round. But after that, I think it's going to be hard to keep going for her. Just with the wrist and hand, it's going to take a year or 2 for that to be 100% again. Muguruza, it's interesting. Carol Liu just won the juniors at Wimbledon. She's qualified. She's coming out of qualifying. Her first round is a winnable match. And obviously she's got Muguruza. Muguruza just won at Cincinnati, obviously backing up her Wimbledon. And Muguruza is doing really good. I mean, there's no reason why she can't win the U.S. Open this year. I have her getting to. She has a good draw. Play Garcia in the 4th round. Muguruza versus Wozniacki. I've got Muguruza if she's solid and she's playing well like she does in the big matches. And it's a stadium court match. I've got Muguruza getting to the semis. I think Muguruza's found that balance, and she's found the ability to control her nerves and peak in the key moments. She showed that the last 2 years against Venus and Serena, and she steps it up in big matches. She really does. And just goes for her shots and makes it look easy. And she doesn't show the nerves even though she's nervous, and she admits it. Konta has been having a great year, won in Miami. Obviously getting to the semis at Wimbledon. Konta's playing well in the hard courts. She's extremely fast, gets down super low for all the shots. Great depth on her ground strokes and moves really well. But when it gets to the latter stages of the tournament, is up to her, and like we saw against at Wimbledon. So that's interesting. Sloane Stephens has made a great comeback after all the time she missed last year. I have her beating Cibulkova. That should be a winnable match. And then I have her beating Ash Barty. Surprising. Konta versus Stephens. I have Konta getting through to the quarters. Bottom half of the draw. I'm going to move quickly here. Sharapova and versus Halep. Look at this, guys. This is your blockbuster first round encounter. Maria Sharapova is not going to be intimidated by this. If anything, Halep will. Simona Halep has had 3 chances this year to become world number 1. Finals of the French, quarterfinals of the Wimbledon, and last week when she just lost she got thrashed by Muguruza 6-1, 6-0. So this is a match that Coach Cahill is going to have to really get her fired up and ready for this, because that's going to be a really tough ask to beat Sharapova. If Sharapova is healthy and her shoulder's okay and she's ready to go, I mean, she can overpower Halep. We saw what happened in the finals of the French 3 years ago. And Sharapova, she's been out, but she's been practicing. She's ready to go, and she's not going to be intimidated by this. She knows how to win majors. She has an incredible mental strength, and if it goes 3 sets, and which it probably will, because Halep will make you hit a lot of balls. That's one of her biggest strengths, is that she's like a wall. She can chase down a lot of tough shots and get the players in uncomfortable positions, as well as on the return, she can be extremely effective, and that's why she's number 2 in the world. But this is a tough first round, and for Simona to come back after she lost that match, and for her to get her confidence right away against Sharapova, I have Sharapova pulling off the upset. I have her getting all the way to the quarters and then losing to Konta. So I've got Muguruza against Konta and have Muguruza in the final. I have Pliskova getting to the semis, up beating Coco Vandeweghe and Madison Keys, and I have the upset right here. I think Madison Keys has proven that she's good to get it to the semis or finals if a draw opens up. Madison Keys was top 10 last year. She made the finals of Rome, and if you're in the women's and you're playing on home soil, and Grand Slams are not a whole lot different from regular tour events. For the women, versus say like Cincinnati, it's not a big jump. I definitely think Madison Keys can get to the final here and beat Pliskova. If she serves well and she's in the right frame of mind, I think we'll have a Muguruza and Keys final, and I have Muguruza experience prevailing. Well, experience in big matches at the big stage prevailing over a first-time finalist. I have Muguruza winning the women's tournament. All right, so that's my pick for the women. Comment below and tell me what you think. Moving on to the men. So here's the story with the men, guys. So originally these were the seeds, and number 1 player, congratulations to Rafael Nadal. He's really deserves to be world number 1 again. Obviously, having won the French Open, dominating the clay court season, playing extremely, extremely solid the whole year. Obviously, second best in the hard court season after losing to Roger Federer, and we did not expect this. I don't think any of us have ever expected, after the rocky road that he had in 2014. He had appendicitis, he had stem surgery on his back. I mean, the guy just keeps coming back. It's a testament to his tenacity and his ability to put his body on the line day in and day out and come back with so much motivation, and to do it better than ever at 31 years old. Amazing. Incredibly deserved. One of the greatest players of all time, greatest of all time on clay, proving himself on hard court. And he's been struggling since the French Open, but he is going to come back again. And he's got a good draw. And obviously, we would have loved to see a Roger Federer versus Rafael Nadal final, but clearly that's not the case, with Federer being the 3rd seed and Nadal being the 1st seed. Now, if Andy Murray, who pulled out yesterday, if he had pulled out the day the draw came out or just before it, Roger would have been the 2nd seed, and then we wouldn't have the semifinal. We wouldn't have them in the same top half. But now, instead of what used to be Murray over here, I'll show you, it's now Cilic, the number 5 seed. We've got number 1 seed Nadal, number 2 seed Murray, who pulled out. So instead, Cilic will take his place. And we've got 3rd seed Roger Federer, and 4th seed Sasha Zverev, who's just won 2 Masters 1000s this year. And he's ready to make a move, but he's yet to do it in a Grand Slam. So we'll see how his body can hold up in 2 weeks. But he definitely has the mental strength, confidence, and game to an opportunity, because all the top players are out, 5 of the top 10, to really go deep in a slam for the first time. So we're going to start with Nadal's quarter. Oh, and by the way, who took Cilic's place? That was Sam Querrey. That was just a draw in the hat. That was just a pick from the hat to see which seed or which player in the rest of the field would take Marin Cilic's place as the 5th seed. So we've got Nadal's quarter here. Nadal versus Lajovic. And I'm going to do these picks as we go along. I just think Nadal, just look at his section. He's got Gasquet possibly in the third round with Berdych in here. I mean, it's not too tricky. I know Fognini took him out, but I don't see him losing. Like, he's got a much easier path than Roger. And Roger's a big question mark with his back, obviously. But if he's healthy and he's playing like he has been all year, I mean, he's a safe pick to get to the semis for sure. And I would be an absolute pleasure to have a Nadal versus Federer semi, no doubt. But to do that, they've got to win 5 matches. So matching against not so sure if he's quite got the game and physical abilities to do that just yet, but he could be a player to watch out. Sugita, Gasquet, Fognini, Troicki, Struff or Dolgopolov. I mean, Dolgopolov is under fixations for match fixing. He's under allegations for that. Don't know what that's about, but Dolgopolov is extremely unpredictable. And Struff, he's got Struff in his first round match. This is a 50-50 match right here. I'm going to go with Dolgopolov. Harrison versus Berdych. They've played many first rounds. Obviously, Berdych, I think, is a favorite. Goffin. Goffin has been struggling since the French, since he got injured. Still pick him to get through here. Darcy or Peya. I'm going to go with Peya. Young. Monfils over Shardy. I've got an upset here. Zoomer over Cuevas. Zoomer just got to the Winston-Salem final. Good for him. Kicker. Bedin or Rublev. How about the young Russian on the hard courts? He's decent. Grigor Dimitrov. Congratulations to him for winning Cincinnati. He showed great maturity getting to the finals of Cincinnati, beating Del Potro along the way for the first time. He took advantage of the fact that it was really an open draw in that tournament. And the way he played tactically against Nick Kyrgios in the final was incredible, who we'll get to later, was incredibly amazing to watch. And maybe he's ready to make the next move. And Dimitrov's been on the rise for the past year, and he's really stepped it up, getting to the semis in Australia, almost getting to the final. Played one of probably the best match of the year against Nadal. Obviously, his tactics against Kyrgios was on point. He was extremely relaxed. His forehand, or his running forehand, is unbelievable. Probably the best in the game. But is he ready to do it best of 5 sets? He's ready to handle the expectation that's so often he has failed to do. Given the fact that we call him baby fed and we have such high expectations for him, he's already 26. He's not next gen. He's the middle generation with Nishikori, Raonic, and Cilic, and Grigor is in that generation. So he's been around the block for the last 6-7 years. But I still think he's got a good draw here, and it's possible that he can make a move. So now that's Nadal's quarter. So I'm going to just do the quarters separately. So I've got Tommy Paul versus Nadal. That should be a great night session match. Arthur Ashe Stadium. I've got Nadal getting through that. But Tommy Paul can definitely push him for 1 or 2 sets if he's not too overwhelmed by this moment. Gasquet and Nadal. Nadal leads that head-to-head 15-0. There's no way Gasquet is winning that match, especially if Nadal gets through Tommy Paul. Fognini and Berdych. This could be interesting, but I think Berdych is more steady. I'll give that to him. And Goffin, I think, can win another match. And Monfils. This is Monfils' best major Grand Slam for sure. Zoomer over Kicker. Dimitrov over Rublev. Exciting stuff. I'll do this quarter separately. Nadal getting to the 4th round. Now, I actually have Fonini, the court speed and his game style. U.S. Open suits him. That's consistently been his best slam. Obviously, he beat Nadal here 2 years ago. And I think that if they were to play again, I'd probably give the edge to Rafa. Just because if he gets his confidence back, then he's a confidence player and he won't have the same issues that he had with Fonini 2 years back when he was really uncertain and he was injured. So I've got Fonini upsetting Berdych. I think that could definitely happen. Yeah, I've got Fonini upsetting Berdych. I've got Monfils taking out Goffin. Goffin struggling to find his form, and Monfils playing well on the hard court. But Monfils is a question mark. You never know with him. He was injured in Cincinnati. He pulled out. If he even gets here and he beats Chardy, his Frenchman, I mean, whenever he's playing a Frenchman, he starts getting a little not businesslike. He starts entertaining the crowd, and he moves sluggishly at times, and he doesn't quite, like if he were to play someone else, I think this match will tell us a lot. But I just think against Goffin, if he's not 100%, then maybe Goffin can win this. But I've still got Monfils, so I'm going to stick with that. And Grigor here. All right. And now if he gets here, Grigor has never won against Monfils, and that's an extremely tough matchup for him. And Monfils is the kind of player whose week in and week out is just two different players sometimes. And I think that Monfils is able to cover the court extremely well. And I think that he'll be able to penetrate Grigor's backhand. And I think that he's fast enough and athletic enough that those running forehands and that poise that Dimitrov is playing with at the moment could get disrupted by Monfils, who is unpredictable on the court. And I think that will favor him. So I've got Monfils taking out Dimitrov. I have to go for the upset. I've got Nadal over Fonini. And I think Nadal gets through this, but we will go for that later. So Roger Federer, obviously his back looks better. I saw his practice, but practice is so different. You don't know how your body is going to react to that, but he's playing Tiafoe. Federer's got a tough section over here. Roger Federer playing against Francis Tiafoe. Tiafoe, up-and-coming American, extremely talented. Obviously took out Zverev last week in Cincinnati. That was surprising. And, really, really solid at the challenger level. I watched these two play in Miami, and he was going toe-to-toe with Federer. First set tiebreaker, and then one break for Roger in the second set. So this match will really tell us. I need to see Roger in the first couple of rounds, how his back is. Because if he's healthy and ready to go and what we've seen him from the rest of the season, Roger Federer would be a stretch, but it would be unbelievably, he would be like athlete of the year. I mean, he already is. He's already won 2 slams this year. And he continues to impress and defy age. And I think for 1 or 2 sets, we could have a couple of tiebreakers. We could have some really close sets. But when it's crunch time, Roger will step up his game. I've got Yuzny, Pospisil, Verdasco, Lopez. This could be a 50-50 match right here. I'm going to go with Verdasco and Roger Federer. I think Verdasco is too streaky, and if Roger's back holds up, Roger will look to shorten points and come forward, and he shouldn't have much problem against this lefty, and that'll prepare him for that semi that could happen against Rafa. Coach Kleiber, he's looking to get his form back. He usually plays well at the Open. 50-50 match. I'm going to go with Milo. Why not? Yaziri or Monteiro. Ooh. Yeah, 50-50 match right here. I'm going to go with Monteiro. So why not? Nick Kyrgios. Let me just tell you something about Nick Kyrgios. Nick Kyrgios, to me, if he's gonna get to the next level, he's got to get a coaching team. He's got to get a team. He's got to be serious. He's got to be willing to. Um, he's got to be willing to be honest. He's very honest with the media, but he's got to be willing to accept his flaws, and he's got to be willing to work hard. Until he does that, he's not ready to win a slam. He definitely, on paper, has all the tools, all the ingredients. He's got a very solid technical game. He's got everything going for him. He's got to put it together. He's got to put it in place, and he can. As sad it is to say, but Nick Kyrgios, when he is on and he's playing these big guys, he's not intimidated. I mean, he's got a better chance of beating the big four in big matches than he does against lesser known players. That's just how he thinks. That's how he is. He loves the attention. He loves the stadium court. He loves playing against the big guys. But until you beat the ones on the lower courts, and until you stop tanking matches on the lower courts, and until you show that consistency weekly, you're never going to get in that position. And that's what Kyrgios is struggling with mentally. And then you see him have the weeks that he did last week, where he's playing the best tennis of his life, and then you see him tank matches like he did in Shanghai last year. So that's going to be my big concern for Kyrgios. And obviously we'll see how the hip holds up. He's playing through it, but it did seem to hamper him a little bit in the last couple of games in the Cincinnati finals. So hopefully he is okay, but nonetheless, this matchup right here could be a treat for us. And like, this could be insane. This could be the match of the tournament. They already played the match, probably the second best match of the year, against each other in Miami, where Roger Federer and Nick Kyrgios were just absolutely toe-to-toe. The level of tennis was incredibly, insanely high. And I just think that Nick Kyrgios is not intimidated by Roger. And Roger knows the danger of playing Kyrgios. And he also, now they've played a couple of times, and this is going to be a night session match in Arthur Ashe. It's going to be incredible. I've got Roger Federer beating Nick Kyrgios. Let's see, Seppi, Bautista Agut, Bellucci over Brown, Bautista Agut winning this. Bautista Agut could get to the quarters if the draw is good. Let's see here. Cripson. Oh, this is really good to see him qualify. I've actually played in some same tournaments as this guy, believe it or not. Del Potro. I don't know if Del Potro is healthy enough and ready to get past the third round. He's been having a really mediocre year, and a lot of question marks, and has been playing on and off, and just can't seem to find that backhand. It's having even less of effect than it did last year. And I know he plays well at the Open, and I know he, but it's going to be extremely tough if he's not healthy. So that's why I'm going to go with Bautista Agut over Del Potro. I'm going to go with Mannarino. I have Karlovic. I actually have Mannarino upsetting Karlovic. I've got Baghdatis. Obviously, it's nice to see Taylor Fritz in the main draw. I think he'll lose to Baghdatis. Team over Minor. Team. Dominic Thiem is the number 6 seed, but I just think that a player like Bautista Agut can take his time away if he's not. It depends on the conditions, obviously. If it's nighttime or daytime, I'm still gonna go ahead and pick Thiem. And so we got Federer against Thiem in the quarters. Querrey versus Simone. Sam Querrey. This is a tough first round for anybody. You don't want to play Gilles Simon. He's one of the best pace absorbers of the game. But he's been struggling this year. Sela or Eubanks. Oh, this is a good first round here. I'm gonna say Eubanks pulls out the upset. Escobedo. Kachanov. I'm gonna say Kachanov gets through this. We've got a big serving matchup here with Kachanov and Query. I think Query will get through it. Misha Zverev. Now we get to Zverev's quarter. Zverev has got all the big servers. Pair. I think Chung will get through this. Herbert is not an easy player, but I think Isner is going to play well at the Open. Misha Zverev versus John Isner. This is a rematch of the third round of the US Open. I'm going to say John Isner wins this. Got the big Americans versus each other. Should be exciting. Oh, Jack Sock has been struggling recently, and he's playing Jordan Thompson, who beat him at the Davis Cup in the quarters. But I think Sock. I'm gonna go with Sock in best of 5 sets. Non-Davis Cup crowd. Tomic has been struggling. Fabiano. Yeah, Tomic is not getting through this match. Muller. Lorenzi. We got Muller. Muller versus Jack. And on a hard court, I'm going to go with Jack. I think he'll equal his result from last year. Kevin Anderson versus Golbus. We got all the big servers in this section of the draw. It's crazy. Wesley or George? Wesley, George, George. This is a next-gen matchup right here between George and Zverev. Obviously, two very talented. I thought George would be higher ranked by now. And if Zverev can get through this next-gen matchup, he's got a big test against Kevin Anderson. And he plays well against big servers. And he's more steady off the ground, and obviously he has weapons from... and he's mentally strong enough to get through these big serving matchups. And he's prepared because he played a lot of good matches in Washington and Toronto against Kevin. Got Zverev versus Sock for the fourth round. I've got Zverev getting through it. I think Zverev will this will be his first top 50 win, believe it or not, in a slam. He's yet to win a top 50, beat a top 50 guy in a major. As silly enough as it sounds, since he's in the number 4 seed and he's won 2 Masters 1000s, but that's what he's been working for the whole year and in the off season, and he fully deserves to be in the quarters. Isner versus Query. Now, my gut tells me Query, so I'm gonna. Query is 8th in the race to London if you take out Djokovic and Wawrinka. So here's my quarterfinal pick. Tsonga has been struggling. Good to see Shapovalov, who made the semis in Montreal, back it up. He's playing Medvedev. That should be an exciting first round match. I really don't know who to pick for this. It's best of 5. I'm going to go with Medvedev. I think Tsonga can regain his form at this tournament. I just think Shapovalov. I just think that Tsonga can get back here. Johnson and got Hasse over Edmund. But Johnson, Hasse is extremely solid, actually. All right, I've got to go move through this quickly. I've got Hasse over Johnson, actually. I think Hasse can do this. Can Robin Hasse upset Tsonga? Let's see. Ramos Vinolas. Nicholas Mahut, Vinolas. Tursunov. Pablo Carreño Busta. We could have Pablo Carreño Busta and Jo-Wilfried Tsonga in the 4th round. I say that Tsonga gets through this is Marin Cilić's quarter, by the way. Luca Pui. I think David Ferrer can make a run. Look at his resurgence. Look at how he's been able to discover his form and playing two solid tournaments and playing really well since Wimbledon. Obviously, winning in Bastad gave him a lot of confidence on the clay, and then backing it up, playing a tough three-setter against Roger in Montreal, and then making the semis in Cincinnati, taking out Thiem along the way. I mean, David Ferrer is back to his best, I think, and Donaldson's playing extremely well, and he's showing tremendous maturity in his work ethic. And he beat Pouille in Montreal, but I think Pouille will have good memories from beating Rafa last year, and I think in best of five, Pouille is probably just a little more solid. Donaldson will have to wait a little bit longer to make that move in a Grand Slam. Donskoy versus Ferrer. Could be exciting. Ferrer will grind this one out. I think that Ferrer will upset Pouille, to be honest. Schwartzman, Kokkinakis, Tipsarevic, former top 8 player, but has been struggling with injuries, and his career has been all over the place since. Dutra Silva, Florian Mayer. I don't know what to say for this. I think I'm going to go with Florian Mayer. And I think Cilic is a question mark, obviously, with the issue that he had at Wimbledon. Will he be able to put that behind him mentally and also physically? Is he ready after his foot injury and his trouble? I think he seems to be ready, and I think he will get this off to a good start. He has a really good record against Americans. I think Cilic can make a run here. Again, Schwartzman over Kokkinakis. Marin Cilic over Schwartzman. Okay. David Ferrer and Cilic. I think Cilic is just an extremely, extremely tough matchup for Ferrer. He just hits so big off of both wings, can serve extremely well, and when his serve is on spot, he's almost unplayable. Obviously moves really well, will flatten his forehand. His running forehand is solid. He's won at the US Open before. He can take your time away. Ferrer will struggle with his ball toss and will struggle to hold his serve. Unfortunately, he doesn't have as great of a defender and as great of an all-court player and net player that Ferrer is. He's become a great net player. Cilic has enough weapons from the back of the court in a best-of-5 scenario to beat Ferrer. So I've got Ferrer, I've got Cilic versus Tsonga, and it's impressive that Tsonga will even get here. And I have Cilic getting to the semis. I have Zverev beating Querrey. And we've got all 4 top seeds again. Nadal over Monfils. Roger Federer over Dominic Thiem. And here's the best match we've been waiting for, Nadal versus Federer. Now, obviously, I'm a big Roger Federer fan, and I'm a big Rafael Nadal fan. So for me, and this is the race to number 1 right here, for me, I hope that Roger Federer can win this. But I think that at the same time, it's going to be difficult because I feel like Nadal is confident after all these big matches. It's going to be tough if Roger struggles for, say, against Kyrgios, and that takes up his energy. Tiafoe is a tough prospect. This is a difficult draw for Federer. Thiem in the quarters, I think. But I've got to go with my heart and the way that he's figured out his backhand and the way that he has the psychological edge over Nadal recently. I've got to pick Roger. Not just my emotions getting in the way of my analysis. It's just that Roger Federer this year, from what I've seen, is a favorite for that match. Zverev and Cilic. Okay. Here's the thing is that if Zverev, his game is a little bit off against these big servers. I think against Cilic, he may not have enough energy. And I think if Cilic is hungry, after to put that disappointment behind him of losing in the finals of Wimbledon the way and the fashion that he did, and not being able to perform on the greatest stage, in the biggest stage of his career and most consistent of his career. And the fact that he's won at the US Open before, and the fact that Zverev will have the pressure more than Marin Cilic will. And can Zverev really hold up? Physically, obviously, he's still growing. He's only 20. He's yet to make a move this deep in a major. It's going to be extremely tough. I've got to pick. I've got to go with my gut. I've got to go with Marin Cilic. So we've got a repeat of the Wimbledon final. And I say that Roger Federer wins in 4 sets over Marin Cilic. That's my predictions. And again, I could be completely wrong. This could be Nadal may not get there. Federer may not get there. Zverev may have a setback like he did when he won in Rome, and then he lost in the first round to Verdasco at the French. Obviously, Tsonga getting here is a big ask, but the draw is open. I mean, it opens up the draw when you have 5 of the top 10 players missing. And this match can still be 50-50 with Zverev and Cilic. Zverev leads their head-to-head 3-0, but that's in best of 3. This is a best of 5. Total number of aces, I think we could have a lot, but I think that Cilic with his big wingspan against Roger, it's going to be a little less. I'd say maybe 12 aces. What will be the total final minutes of this match? I'm going to go with 2 hours. I'm going to go with 139 minutes final. So Roger Federer wins his 20th major of the year. 20th major overall. 3rd major of the year at 36 years old. Cementing his status. Maybe world number 1. He'll be world number 1 after this tournament, and then with a big lead over Nadal in the race to London. And we're getting up to an exciting finish to the end of the season. And I hope Roger's back is healthy, because if it is, the rest of the field better watch out. So that's it. All right, guys, thank you so much. So those are my predictions for the men and the women. It's going to be an exciting 2 weeks. And I hope that I can do another live before the end of the season. If not, it was great. It was great to do this today for the last time of the year. And don't forget to subscribe. See you next time.